Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into the story of Jack Ma. We're focusing less on just the headlines and more on the journey itself.
Exactly. Because
Okay.
everyone knows the name, the success, right?
Hmm.
But the really interesting part, the part we can maybe learn from, is how he got there. All those hurdles.
Yeah, the setbacks, the failures, that's what we're digging into. So let's start at the beginning. Ma Yun, born back in 64, Hangzhou, China.
Mm.
Pretty modest background, small kid, family didn't have much, no TV, no car. But what he did have was this curiosity.
A real hunger to learn about the world outside China, which was, well, pretty closed off back then.
And that curiosity led him to English at 12 years old.
Right.
12. He starts cycling to this hotel every morning.
Right, the Hangzhou Hotel, just to talk to foreign tourists.
For 9 years, just trading his time, helping them out to practice English. That's incredible foresight for a kid.
It really is.
Mhm.
Thinking long-term like that, not about quick wins. But school wasn't exactly easy for him, was it?
No, not at all. He actually failed his middle school exams twice, then high school exams 3 times.
3 times, wow.
And then the big one, the college entrance exams, failed those twice too.
And you have to understand, in China, those exams are, well, they're a huge deal. Massive pressure.
Absolutely. Failing repeatedly like that could crush you. But his attitude was apparently just, okay, I'll try again.
That resilience is just something else. Where does that come from,
That's a great question. He did eventually get into Hangzhou Teachers Institute, studied English, but then came the job hunt.
Ah, yes. Another round of rejection.
A big round. He applied for 30 jobs. 30.
And got turned down by every single one.
Yep. Police force said, not fit, KFC. This is classic.
Yeah.
They hired 23 out of 24 applicants. He was the one they rejected.
The only one. Ouch.
Even a hotel job told him he wasn't good looking enough, talked too much, just brutal.
You wonder if those rejections almost forced his hand, pushed him to think differently.
It feels like it. Because faced with all that, he apparently decided, okay, I will find my own way.
That's a turning point, isn't it? Taking control.
Hmm.
Saying, fine, I'll build my own path.
And around this time, something else happened that kind of broadened his horizons.
Right. He met that American family in Hangzhou.
Yeah. They gave him the nickname Jack, easier for them to say. But more than that, they shared things about the world, even invited him to the U.S.
That kind of exposure, seeing things outside your own context, it must have been huge, planting seeds.
Definitely. But the rejection wasn't quite over yet. Harvard?
Oh, right. 10 times, wasn't it?
10 times he applied, 10 times rejected. Most people would just stop.
But his reaction apparently was something like, well, if Harvard doesn't want me, the world still needs me. Just incredible self-belief.
It's unreal. Like, where does that confidence come from after so much negative feedback?
It's the core of his story, really. And it leads us right into his encounter with the internet.
Yeah, he was 31. Can you imagine? First time seeing the internet?
And the story goes, he searches for beer, finds some international stuff, then searches China.
And nothing. Or almost nothing.
Right, and that sparks the question, why isn't China online? Why aren't we represented here?
And then the light bulb moment. Maybe nobody's done it yet. Maybe I could be the one.
Turning a problem into an opportunity. He literally said, every problem is an opportunity. So what was the first attempt?
China Pages. He borrowed like $2,000 from friends. The idea was simple. Help Chinese businesses get online.
But the timing, I mean, this was the mid-90s in China. The internet was barely a thing. People didn't get it, didn't trust it.
Exactly. He was trying to sell something totally abstract. People apparently laughed at the idea of doing business online.
So it was an uphill battle, a massive one.
And, well, China Pages,
Yeah.
It didn't make it. It failed. His first big business failure.
But his takeaway wasn't despair, was it? It was more like,
Good. Okay, that failed. Learn something. Let's try again. That mindset.
that's crucial. Learning from failure, not being defined by it.
Okay, so jump forward a bit. 1999, he's 35. He gathers 17 friends in his apartment.
The famous apartment meeting.
And he tells them, we're starting Alibaba. We're going to connect Chinese businesses to the world.
Just like that.
Yeah.
And the name, Alibaba. Quite clever.
Yeah, open sesame, right. Opening doors to fortune, especially for small businesses. Plus, it sounds good globally.
And that initial team, 18 people, including him, what did they actually have?
Not much. No real business plan, hardly any money, no fancy technology, just belief, intense belief.
Working out of his apartment, long hours, no pay initially, driven by this idea they were building something historic.
But belief doesn't pay the bills right away. Funding was a huge issue.
Yeah, the banks weren't biting. Too risky, no clear plan, they said. Rejected again and again.
Until Masayoshi-san, SoftBank.
The legendary meeting. 5 minutes?
Apparently just 5 minutes. And Sun decides to invest $20 million. Just like that.
And Sun apparently said he invested in the person, in Jack Ma himself, not just the business plan. He saw something in him.
That says a lot. And as Alibaba grew, Jack's leadership style really started to show.
Yeah, he had this philosophy. Hire people smarter than you.
Right. My job isn't to be the best, it's to bring out the best in others. That's quite humble, really.
And he built this really tight-knit culture.
Yeah.
Treated the team like family. That famous line.
Even if we only have one bowl of rice left, we share it, really fostering that sense of unity.
He put culture above strategy, didn't he? Believed it was more important.
Absolutely. And it wasn't a stuffy corporate culture either. Weird nicknames.
He was Crazy Jack.
Huh, yeah. Morning dances, karaoke nights. He said, when we sing together, we stay together, building connection.
It sounds maybe a bit quirky, but that kind of thing builds morale, loyalty, makes people feel like they belong.
Which they definitely needed when the big competitor arrived, eBay.
Ah, the giant. eBay enters China, buys a local company called EachNet. Suddenly, Alibaba has this massive global shark in their waters.
The team must have been worried, scared even.
You bet. But Jack's response was brilliant, that analogy.
eBay is a shark in the ocean. We are a crocodile in the Yangtze River.
If we fight in the ocean, we lose. But if we fight in the river, we win. Meaning, play to your strengths, use your local knowledge.
Exactly. They knew the Chinese market, the small businesses, their hopes, their fears, way better than eBay did.
So what was the counter move?
Taobao,
Yeah.
launched in 2003. And here's the kicker. It was free for sellers.
Free, while eBay charged fees. That was bold.
Super bold. His thinking was, win their hearts first, money comes later. He told the team, we're not just building a website, we're building the future of China.
That's powerful motivation. And they worked like crazy, didn't they?
Non-stop. Coding, testing, reaching out to sellers, really understanding what they needed.
Things like direct chat between buyers and sellers, which eBay didn't have initially. More colorful designs, support. It felt local, friendly.
Compared to eBay, which maybe felt a bit like a big foreign machine.
Right, and that local touch, that focus on user needs, it worked.
It did. And then in 2005, another huge moment, Yahoo invests $1 billion.
$1 billion? For a 40% stake. But Jack kept control. Right.
Crucially, yes. They used that money to power up Taobao even more.
And the result?
By 2006, eBay basically shut down its main China operations. They couldn't compete.
Wow. David versus Goliath? Kinda.
Pretty much. But Jack was humble about it. He said something like, we won because we stayed close to the people. We're here to serve.
Keeping that focus even in victory, that's key.
And they didn't stop there. Alibaba kept expanding. AliExpress for international.
Alibaba Cloud, taking on Amazon Web Services.
And Alipay, which became Ant Financial, just building this whole ecosystem.
Wasn't just e-commerce anymore, it was tech, finance, logistics, everything intertwined.
His vision kept growing, and he started shifting focus more towards education, philanthropy too.
Then came 2014, the IPO.
The biggest IPO in history at the time, New York Stock Exchange. Suddenly, he's a globally famous, richest man in China.
How did that change him, do you think? Or did it?
Well, his public statements were always about the responsibility. This isn't my money. I'm holding it for the people. Need to use it wisely.
And he put his money where his mouth was, starting the Jack Ma Foundation.
Yeah, big focus on education, especially in rural areas. He even said, if I choose between billionaire or teacher, I choose teaching.
Which makes his retirement announcement make sense.
Right. 2019, his 55th birthday, also happens to be Teacher's Day in China. He steps down from Alibaba.
Not just steps down, but emphasizes leaving as a friend, a mentor.
And the farewell party was apparently epic. Rock star outfit singing.
Huh. Yeah, I saw pictures. But his speech was emotional, right? Back to his core message.
Totally. I was never smart. I failed many times, but I never gave up. If I can do it, you can too. Pure inspiration.
But then things got complicated.
Yeah.
That 2020 speech.
Yes. Criticizing the Chinese financial system pretty openly in Shanghai.
And then he just disappeared for about 3 months.
Yeah, vanished from public view. Huge speculation worldwide. What happened? Where was he?
He did eventually reappear, but seemed quieter, more focused on teaching, charity work, a definite shift.
The full story there is still a bit murky, honestly, but it's a significant part of his later narrative.
Absolutely. And despite stepping back, his wealth is still immense, obviously. peaked around 65, $70 billion.
Yet, accounts suggest he lives relatively simply, married to his college sweetheart, Zhang
The
Ying.
one who said she fell in love with his thinking.
Nice. They keep their family life private. He reads, travels, spends time with students and teachers.
That commitment to education seems really genuine, going to rural schools after retiring.
Following his own advice, go where you're needed, not celebrated.
Yeah, and throughout all this, his speeches, they're legendary in their own right.
So quotable. Simple, emotional, funny sometimes. Things like, if you don't give up, you still have a chance. Giving up is the greatest failure.
Or help young people, help small guys.
Mm-hmm.
It will change the world. Believing in the underdog.
And that famous one, today is hard, tomorrow is harder, but the day after tomorrow is beautiful. Captures the struggle and the hope.
He has this incredible ability to make you believe in yourself,
Yeah.
despite whatever setbacks you're facing.
The core idea being, you don't need a fancy background or genius IQ. You just need heart, a refusal to quit.
Like he says, your rejection isn't the end, it's a redirection. Your struggle is your superpower, turning pain into purpose.
So wrapping up this deep dive, what really stands out from Jack Ma's story is just sheer resilience, isn't it?
Absolutely. It wasn't a straight line to success at all. It was messy, full of failures, full of doubts, I'm sure.
But he kept going.
Yeah.
Believed in himself, yes, but also focused on serving others, solving their problems.
And, just like there was that potential inside the young Ma Yin back in Hangzhou,
Mhm.
that same ability to bounce back, to have a vision, is inside all of us, inside you listening.
Which brings us to a final thought for you. Think about a challenge you're facing right now, maybe something that feels impossible. What if you applied a bit of that Jack Ma mindset? Seeing setbacks as learning opportunities, putting in that relentless effort even when results aren't immediate, believing in yourself.
How might that shift things for you? What little seeds, what actions can you take today, trusting that they'll grow into something meaningful down the road, even if you can't see the whole picture yet?